So in order to make this application working on the background, I have added library background timer. For now, the timer interval is set for 9 seconds. It's going to be reset later on for 12 seconds. I followed the docs and this is how it looks right now. So inside that set interval, I just set conditions which tracks in which state this application is, and depending on the state, I'm calling different logic. At this moment, my target was to create a logic that would mirror the same functionality as this application has on the foreground. Since I know that my quotes cannot be array, cannot be changed in the background, I had to create an additional component variable that would hold those quotes. To make testing easier, I commented out all quotes from quote blob except 3 first quotes. Since my app state detection is happening in app wrapper and I pass the state of the application as a props to main application page, I'm going to be using lifecycle component data update to separate what to do when the state of the application changes. Over here, I've created 2 component variables. They will hold the latest quotes that are being read. So the moment when application is going from the background to foreground, those quotes that are being read is going to be produced on the screen. And now it's time to check. I'm going to go ahead and launch the auto mode to read in foreground and then switch application to the background and see if it still works.
Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Quote by Albert Einstein. Life isn't about getting and having, it's about giving and being. Quote by Kevin Cruz. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Quote by Napoleon Hill. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Quote by Albert Einstein. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Quote by Napoleon Hill. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Quote by Albert Einstein.
As I'm tweaking and cleaning up the code in my application, I've realized I don't have to drag through application 2 arrays of quotes, one in state and one as a component variable. And I can just use component variable for everything. That simplifies the code, makes it cleaner and less, and that's what I'm gonna modify right now. And in the next part, we'll see how it will look. But in general, I am satisfied. Application works in foreground, in the background, and even when the phone is off. So the app is working as expected. I did some more modifications, mostly cleanup, some styling updates, but one thing that I forgot is just to include the footer. It says Free Code Camp Project by Nick. And in order to save real estate on screen, I've made it conditional, so it only shows when the screen is in the portrait mode. And it's being removed when screen turns into landscape. In order to implement this functionality, I'm using property dimensions that I'm passing into this component, and I'm checking whether or not height is greater than width, and make an assumption, is that a portrait mode or landscape mode. And this addition concludes MainAppPage component. And at the bottom of this component, I listed the links for the libraries that I'm using.